correct if I'm wrong, but you were mentioning something about
furries and things
protecting furries.
Yes.
Is this true?
Schools protecting furries.
But this
was happened. Yeah, I won't name the school, but this actually happened, and it's very similar to kind of the gender things as well. If you're a teacher and you don't refer to somebody as their correct pronoun, or now a furry, for example, you could be fired.
And the question for today, class, is 2 + 2 equals? Yes, Skydragon 45? No, that is an incorrect answer. Hey, Eternal Lactatia, please sit down and be quiet while we're doing class. Show some respect, please.
Hello everyone and welcome to This Week is Stupid for the 2nd of May 2021. If this video happens to be a little bit short, is because we are celebrating Orthodox Easter here in Romania, so I have family obligations. And speaking of which, I noticed why everyone laughs like an idiot or does the soy face whenever a selfie is being taken. Because if you're just acting naturally, like for example, you're looking for news on your phone and you're concentrated on what you're doing, and some other twat takes a selfie while you're doing that, everyone goes like, oh my god, he's so upset. Oh, like what happened? It's like dark clouds above the heavens. It's like, no, I was just like unaware that a selfie was taken. Jesus Christ, like these people. From now on, I'm going to do the soy face in each and every selfie. Is the correct way of doing it. Alright, the safe way of doing it if you don't want the online criticism to descend upon you. Now, let's begin with the important stuff, the news. According to Forbes magazine, you must. Okay, it's a command. It's an imperative. Like a boss tells to the employee, like a general tells to a soldier, like a father tells to a child. You must not do your own research when it comes to science. Because, according to Forbes magazine, you can be a dangerous person. You can be like an electronic criminal. Look at this, because you can cause destruction. If you do your own research, it causes destruction in the real world. Buildings collapse, DPS gets caused. But worst of all, it can be deadly. Can be deadly if you read things for yourself. It can be deadly. So do not, under any circumstance, do your own research, because if you're deadly, you can get arrested, you can sent to prison. You understand this? Listen to what the journalist is telling you. The only people that can do their own research are the scientists and the journalists, and not just any journalists, but the journalists that get to work with the authoritative sources, that have a blue check mark on top of their forehead. Only they have the mental capacity to understand what the scientist is saying so they can translate it to the masses. And you think I'm kidding, right? Like once, when I was working at the hospital, I had the pleasure of meeting one of these journalists. Like when we did a brain scan, the machine lit up. Like all of the doctors were, and we realized that the journalist with the blue check mark, he's like an ascended being. He transcended humanity. He has the capacity to understand the scientist in order to explain to the rest of us what the scientist means. And this is why I fully agree, 100% agree. Never ever do your own research, because trust me, I tried, and it's confusing. It can make your head spin. Like, what do I mean by this? Let me show you. When Donald Trump called it the Chinese virus, according to Forbes, a study shows that he helped fuel anti-Asian hate on the Twitter. Study shows, research claims, right? Horrible. Forbes magazine, it tells me this, right? So never, ever, under any circumstance, call it the Chinese virus. I get it. You know, like, okay, fine. Then we get a different article from Forbes, which says an Indian SARS-CoV-2 variant lands in California, more danger ahead. Wow, I am really frightened now. I am scared, which is why when I'm frightened and scared, I do the reasonable thing, which is glue myself to the mainstream media. Like when I'm afraid, when I fear something, I just read the papers constantly. and click, 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 click. That's what normal people do. So I just can't stop reading Forbes now. I mean, first of all, they're telling me not to do my own research. Okay, I'm not doing it. I'm reading Forbes. Indian SARS-CoV-2 variant lands in California. Oh my God. And then I read the next article, and it says that why using coronavirus name like Indian variant is racist. I don't want to read racist papers, man. But I can't do my own research either. Like, what do I do? I'm confused. You know what I think I'll do? I'll tell you what I do. It's like reading the Quran. The last thing you read is the one that's true, and all the previous things you read are discarded. How about that? We do it in chronological order. By the way, so moral of the story, calling it the Chinese virus leads to hate crimes. So we should avoid doing that. That's horrible. I agree. I fully agree. Don't do it. But calling it the English variant, the Brazilian variant, the Indian variant, they're kind of acceptable, sort of, but not really. See, this is what happens when I try to make up my own mind, when I try to do my own research. I end up confused. Isn't it a lot simpler to just read the paper? Just read the authoritative sources, see what the latest paper is about, and that's what you need to think. Life becomes so much simpler, and we all thank it to the journalists working at the authoritative sources. And honestly, I do it the same with politicians. Because I am cursed with something that most people don't have to deal with. I am cursed with a long-term memory. That's how I got through med school and law school, by having a long-term memory. And unfortunately, in this day and age, it is dangerous. It is problematic for my brain. And I wish I could shut it off, but I can't. So, if you guys remember, if you're cursed like me, last year, like we're not talking about last decade, no, last year we had Joe Biden, who said a wall will not stop the virus. Banning all travel from Europe or any other part of the world will not stop it. This disease could impact every nation and any person on the planet, and we need a plan to combat it. He then went ahead and called it xenophobic to ban travels and whatnot. And I agree. Except that today the White House is going to restrict travel from India. You know what I think? Like, no, look, I can explain this away. Like this is something that I can actually rationalize. Like, if you remember it from the last week in Stupid, when Joe Biden said something, but the White House policy was different than what Joe Biden has said. Well, in that situation, this actually makes sense now. All of a sudden, I have managed to figure it out. So now you know as well, you're not going to be confused anymore. That's the explanation. Now, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about model citizens. Model citizens are the type of people that you want to aspire to be like. They're the real leaders. And what better model citizen than the United States president? Here we have Joe Biden on a Zoom call with other world leaders talking about the climate. And as you can see, people pointed out on the internet that other world leaders weren't wearing a mask, but Joe Biden was the only one. This was being debunked. Fact checkers have debunked this. Apparently, the photo is misleading. There are other photos where other world leaders wear a mask as well. So, okay, just because you're vaccinated, just because you're on a Zoom call, doesn't mean you're not supposed to wear a mask. Which is commendable. You know, this is the model citizen for America. But I will tell you something even more interesting. My country goes even beyond that. Like, my country, when it comes to respecting the COVID measures, should get a 5-star rating. And I'll tell you why. Because everyone here respects them religiously. Everyone here social distances. Everyone here wears a mask. Which makes life for the average Romanian police officer a living hell. Can you imagine being a police officer in a world where everyone follows the law? You feel useless. You feel like there's no need for you. You have to give a fine. Like, you want to give a fine to someone, but you can't because, like, everyone is obeying the regulations. And, yeah, I can definitely sympathize. Now, Turns out that there was one person that wasn't obeying the law. Was one person that wasn't following it, and luckily a cop was there, just to show how quickly the Romanian justice system works. A beggar, like a person that's in the street, homeless, begging for money, he wasn't wearing the mask properly. So the police officer immediately arrived on the scene, and when we have a society where everyone follows the rules, so we are sorry to say that you, my friend, also need to comply. And they gave him a $300 fine to the beggar, the homeless beggar, for not following the regulations. Turns out that the beggar has sued the police officer, showing that he has a doctor's note to not wear the mask because he has certain medical conditions, such as epilepsy. And when he goes into a crisis, the doctor said that the people around him should see that he is foaming at the mouth in order to give him first aid. As such, he is exempt. And it just goes to show that in Romania, literally everyone, including the beggars, are following the law. Maybe next time, police officers, maybe next time you're going to actually catch someone that did it, but not today. Now, while most nations have to deal with more pressing issues such as the pandemic, climate change, or the looming economic crisis, Finland cannot do that because Finland has to do with a more pressing issue, that of sexismus. You see, most of their government is entirely composed by women, and they are facing an uphill battle. They are facing a struggle that no other politician in the world had to face before, that of sexismus. You see, when they log online, they see harsh words. They see mean things, and this is entirely unacceptable. I think that politicians should be safe from harsh language and criticism so that they can focus on ruling the nation. Now, certain idiots have proposed the solution so that the politicians can grow thicker skin, or that we shut down the internet so that they can focus on leading the country. But no, a much more better answer has been found, a much more better solution, that of censorship. You see, you cannot be trusted to type things on the internet. You are incapable of being a decent human being. As such, we need the strength and the allyship of corporations to ban people like you from posting whatever you want on the internet so that politicians do not get to experience your vile rhetoric from within the keyboard. Do you understand the power that you have to shape society? You can type whatever you want on your keyboard and a politician can see it, and thus it can be distracted from doing its proper job. As such, you are not a trustworthy individual. The corporations and the billionaires are the ones that we trust the most to safeguard the democracy and our sacred way of life. Imagine if a terrorist, if ISIS would have access to the internet and a keyboard. They could write hurtful things, such as the Lipstick Brigade, the Tampax Team, or the dreaded Feminist Quinette. These are terms that NATO, yes, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the military alliance that is designed to keep us safe from foreign threats as well as domestic, have found these terms to be misogynistic and sexist. And even though the study run by the North Atlantic Treaty Organization has found that male members of the cabinet were also on the receiving end of derogatory tweets, they were disproportionately less so. Now, some morons have suggested that we issue more derogatory threats to male politicians, but this is not the way. It is not the way. The correct way is to have a free society where we run censorship, where we put our fist into the mouths of bigots and we tell them no more. You will not type this bigot. You will step away from the computer. And even though no threats of physical violence has been found, the problem is that this is a threat to democracy, bigot. You are ruining democracy from your keyboard. You need to stop doing what you're doing. Take a step back and think. Look at the faces of these brave politicians that you are hurting and stop issuing criticism towards them.
How is eating meat racist? I'll gladly tell you. Looks like we've got an oppressor on our hands. So, during slavery times, slaves did not get to eat the same things as their masters. They got the scraps that no one wanted. Chitterlings. Now that black people have overcome slavery, they developed a rich barbecue culture to make up for all the meat eating that they lost out on. So when you go to the store and you buy a piece of meat as a white person, you are actively taking away a piece of meat that could be being enjoyed by a survivor of ancestral slavery. Eating meat is not only racist, but it's also anti-Semitic. During the Holocaust, Jews did not get to eat meat in labor camps. They ate potato soup, which would spill on their bodies, burning them and giving them infections. Now, Jew survivors eat a lot of meat. Brisket. Just let them have that. Stop appropriating.
Alright, as I mentioned, I now have to cut it short and I have time for just one more announcement. You see, I am having difficulty in selling buyer's remorse to people. Yes, I'm having difficulty in selling super chats. Like, you can give me money and in exchange I give you buyer's remorse. Like, you will feel bad for donating to me. And because I'm unable, like I have so much buyer's remorse that I can't sell, I'm thinking about hiring a professional. So the first person that I might hire would be Belle Delphine. I mean, this lady managed to sell gamer girl bathwater to people. Like, this is a marketing salesman genius. This woman can sell ice to the Eskimos, can sell oppression to the communists. She can even sell Fallout 76 to people. So I really had my sights on her. I said, you know what? Like, if I manage to get this lady aboard, I'm going to get my business to skyrocket. There's going to be so much demand, I would not have enough supply. But a new challenger has entered the ring. A new person that is also capable of selling almost everything has came up. And this person is Ben Shapiro. Now, Ben Shapiro caught my attention when a controversy came up where a lot of businesses signed a letter condemning Georgia's law, Georgia's voting law. Like, businesses, corporations were like, how dare you, lawmaker? How dare you? Who do you think you are? All right? Just know your place. Now we're going to do business with China. But there was one corporation that didn't. There was one corporation called Home Depot, which did not sign the letter. And it got pressure from other companies to sign it. And because Home Depot did not bend the knee, Ben Shapiro went there and advertised their product. Check this out.
All right, as you can see, I just went shopping at Home Depot. You should do the same. This wood, this board, this magnificent piece of poplar is now mine.
I never seen more enthusiasm in my life. You can't fake that level of enthusiasm. Like, that would legitimately makes me think that it makes Ben Shapiro happy. And because of that, extra, read all about it. The Home Depot is under attack. Help Ben stop the radical left. Explore your store. Browse the vast reaches of your Nashville Home Depot. Even you will only leave with a single board in this open world adventure. Trash the Democrats. The corrupt Democrats are bad at it again. This time they're trying to use their emotion to ensure illegal voting can happen. Show them facts that don't care about their feelings. So much wood. Choose all kinds of wood from all kinds of sizes. There are so many ways to customize the board you use to own the libs. Ben Shapiro buys a single piece of wood from the Home Depot. I don't know who should I hire. Belle Delphine versus Ben Shapiro. Cast your votes in the comment section. I want to know. You know what? No. I'll start the poll, actually. I will start the poll. Like, I really want to know who is a better salesman. Is it Ben Shapiro or is it Belle Delphine? And by the way, this really bothers me. Like, look, I'm trying to live my life the way Forbes has deemed it so. Like, do not do any research. Just believe whatever you read in the media. But I gotta say, The Hill, like, this is a little bit sus. It's a little bit sus for me. Anti-Semitic crime in Germany at highest level recorded. Really, The Hill. The highest ever. Like, has it never been, never in the history of mankind in Germany. In Germany. I am going to vote that this is a little bit sus. I'm not saying that there is no anti-Semitismus in Deutschland right now. Okay? I'm not even saying that it's not at high levels. That are deemed of us worrying. No, but what I'm saying is that there might have been a specific time in history when the levels were just a little bit higher. I am like a little bit bewildered. Again, like I'm not supposed to do my own research. I understand. I'm not supposed to question. But like, come on, you know, like I personally find it difficult to believe that it's at the highest levels recorded. Might be a high level, but not the highest. Know what I'm saying? Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the comment section. Take care.